Alright, guys. We've got Clem in the bottom right side of the map playing Terran. He just won an epic semifinals where he was playing Protoss. Now he's up against the race that he was just playing as. And it's Hero, the man who has been delectably ridiculous with his play recently. I feel like Hero has taken unpredictable silliness and has leveled it up a notch. As we are going on to 10,000 feet here. The map which does have the poorly rendered golden balls. I still don't know what happened. These used to look so cool when the map first came out. They were textured correctly, and now they look like they're a two-dimensional blob. I don't know what is going on with that. I'm sure the map maker's not too happy about it. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. Hope you're all having a great day. And really appreciate all of you for the support. This is, of course, the grand finals. I just got out of an epic semi, so I'm a bit winded. But I've got a bottle full of water, and I know this series is going to deliver. One way or the other. Sometimes one of these guys 3-0s the other one, but Clem has just been in a 5-game barn burner, playing PvT, and I really am curious to see what he does now from the Terran side of things. It is a Cybercore into Nexus, so a pretty conservative opening, and he's going to recall that probe. Now, you can wait longer to recall that probe, harass a bit longer. Remember, the Reaper pops at a minute 58 at the earliest, often as late as 2 minutes, depending on how quickly they got that barracks down. So you can delay it. Usually you can start the recall if you're back here at 2 minutes and you'll be more than safe. Won't even be cutting it that close. Then again, I'm not sure if Hero has ever looked at the game timer in his life. Game time is one of those things that's useful for benchmarking stuff if you're like pretty nerdy about your build orders and timings. I don't get the sense that Hero is the guy who memorizes many numbers when he plays StarCraft, but kind of feels his way. And I don't think that's bad. I do think that in many situations is actually better because, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are situations where I'm like, hey, there's some basic theory could help, but proxy starport, Hellion drop. Clem is going to start this series with some heavy aggression. Thank you very much. Oh man, if this works, it's huge. No battery in the main. Now, do you guys think Phoenix or Oracle's better against this? I actually think Oracle is the best to defend this. Problem is, if you go Oracle, your Oracle's probably not at home as this attacks you. It's going to go Phoenix. Yes, Phoenix can be good for obviously picking up the Hellions, but they won't kill it straight away. What do we got, guys? We've got 1 Stalker, 2 Adepts there. Clem loves to mix this in against the Korean Protoss, says Pajinda, who's... Okay, good tip-off. He used to mix this in a lot more against Max Packs and the European Protoss as well, but maybe he did it too much versus them, so their guards up against it, whereas the Korean players he plays against a bit less frequently might not be as used to it. Oh, here we go. 2 Phoenix, well positioned. The Adept Stalker's nowhere near, though. And it goes for the pickup on the Hellion. Oh my god, the probes go for an attack! Oh my lord, he stacks his probe for the attack! Mad lad Hero. He's going to lose about 15, I think. Oh, actually, the Hellions, they don't keep chasing there. I think he could rotate. These probes are heavily damaged down here. But he does get 14 probes. Almost gets the 15. That one should go down before the land is available. Medevac still dodging these Phoenix, trying to bide its time, or buy some time, I should say. Not able to do it just yet. We've got that starport coming in. 14 probes went down. Damn, dude. Yeah, immediate 3rd Nexus is the correct call. A lot of players counterattack in this scenario. Hero often counterattacks and just throws his units into the meat grinder. But you can see Clem's ready for it, because he's not only building 3 Marines at a time, he's also building a 2nd Cyclone, knowing that Hero is the kind of guy who will shade 5 Adepts and 5 Phoenix in and just essentially all in, hoping that he can break you with the counterattack. Instead, we're seeing non-stop probing. He pulled off gas temporarily as well. Only now does he put back on gas, because he knew he needs minerals, Nexus, pylons. And that's what he's forgotten is his next pylon, because he's about to get supply blocked. Hero, supply block, mate. Okay, he starts it at 51. It's not too bad. It'll only be a small supply block. That's okay. If he left that any longer, it was going to be nasty. And you guys might be wondering, why am I obsessing over a marginal supply block? The reason I am is because right now he is behind in economy against Terran. He's just evening out the work count. He should be way ahead in the workers around this stage. Stim, shields, +1 weapons on the way. Marauder production started. Medevacs will be beginning any moment now. And he throws away 2 Phoenix! Oh my lord! What? Who just clicks their Phoenix over their opponent's natural and doesn't watch them? That is such a chaotic decision. That's obviously, like, that's where their army always is. It's understandable when you get caught on the map, but into their army rally, like, that's a crazy move. That's something I often see. I see Diamond players make this mistake all the time where they'll like they'll queue up a drop, but they'll just not look at it because they queued it from their side of the map. So they'll just be like, "Oh, I'm making charge," and the Prism just flies over 8 Marines and dies. And I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty silly, you know." But this is even sillier than that because this is like I'm clicking Phoenix over your rally point. Like what? Hero is gonna go charge +1 weapons, 3 gateways, 2 more building. I love that Clem's not giving him any time. And look at that, double lock on. Huge damage on that Phoenix, which means there's only 2 Phoenix, almost nothing left on them. Charge is going to finish in time, but I think there's enough Marines to not even care. Combat Shields is almost ready. And here we go. He's got a stim. Stim to try and win. Now that he sees it's mass Zealot, Clem wants to get out of here. He needs the Widow Mines. Some splash damage would really help against these Zealots. Good kiting by Clem. Clem's stutter step is so smooth. There are so many times when I play TVP and I really know I could micro my way out of a situation. You just need to chop Clem's hands and brain off and stick them in my body. And like, I know I'd be able to survive these situations with stutter step like that. Alas, us mortal Terrans are not able to do so. Widowmine does take out the Cyclone, but it kills a lot of Zealots at the same time. Beautiful play here for Clem. Oof. Cyclone does a bit of a lock on as well. The bio is just going to kite this down. He's still got good medevac healing, 4 medevacs now. Zealots take another Widowmine. Probes being pulled into the fight. That ain't going to do nothing. And of course, he's just about to get to 9 gateways, but one of the gateways falls. The gateways haven't even transformed just yet. The Widowmine's trying to burrow here, but honestly, I don't think you even want them to shoot. The Marine Marauder is already winning the day. GG, well played. All right. Clem with a sick game 1. He says it's time to cheese in game 2. Let's go. 0 chill. Hero, do not take a gas right now. Okay, he's not taking a gas. I think if Hero goes gas first, no scout, he just dies. It is a double proxy Marauder on 15 supply for Clem. Depot finishes, and look at how well timed this is. Depot finishes now, 150 minerals just a second later. Barracks on 42 seconds, and the second barracks right behind. Alright, second barracks goes down, so barracks, gas, barracks, very nice. Hero is scouting after Gateway, but it's a big map. It's going to take him a long time to get across. Now, I think Clem is basically saying this map's huge, really hard to get across with any timing push. Yes, you can still win late game as Terran, but even that's hard because the bases are wide open and spread out and Zealots can swarm everywhere. So I think his whole attitude here is, look, I'm just going to try and cheese. This is your best map in the best of 5. If I get a win, it's a huge momentum shift in my favor. Fortunately for him, Hero has scouted him out, sees the lack of the second gas, and immediately says, yeah, let's take a second gas power. Guys! Hero's not building a Nexus! I have ranted so much about Hero taking an expansion against this all-in unnecessarily and how bad it is. But you know what? The meta's evolved so much that when Clem sees that his opponent scouted it, doesn't build the second tech lab, and he just starts building like Marines and Marauders, and then he just rallies them home, denies your expansion for a while with the bunker, and then takes another command center. Is this live? The Pigosaur Weekly that's on the same time, the same day, every single week, ever, for over a year now? 60 weeks in a row? Yes, it is live. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Now, normally you go Stargate. Why is he building a battery? Oh, he's built a battery and a sentry, and now second and third gate. Wait, why'd you take double gas? Is Hero just going to 4-gate him? Guys, oh, we forgot a pylon here, but that's okay. It's not supply blocking him. He's still building units. But why is Hero going for 3? I guess he's just going to bust out with Guardian Shield Stalker, and then he's going to counterattack across the map. Clem is going factory, which is wise. He's not really building many units right now, is he, guys? 2 Marauders, 1 Marine. Clem is just like, whatever. I'm surprised this barracks hasn't lifted off to go home either. Nexus goes up on the 3rd. I like that choice for Hero. I love that choice. I love that for you.
Is under attack.
Oh, this is cool, man. Too many layers of mind games. Yeah, we used to consider this an all-in, but because Clem saw the probe enter his base, he's pivoted away from making it all-in. And it's a very quick factory that he rushes towards to get cyclones out, and then he gets or a cyclone at least. He gets the command center. This bunker's not really doing anything. Honestly, if I were him, I'd try to unload and sell it, and then hope the Marauders can kill a Stalker or two. He doesn't have concussive. Alright. Oh, he should focus the Stalker, not the Sentry, I think. He wants the kills. He knows he's going to lose these units either way, so he's trying to be tricky with it. Getting tricky with it. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Marauder does end up getting blasted up the ramp. SCV gets yeeted down the other ramp. Oh my god. Well, his neck's 100% broken. Third base is up as a natural. 31 probes. You know what? This is decent for hero. I always thought Stargate was the best thing to play here. But if you think about it, because Terrans are so quick to pivot when they get scouted into Cyclones now, Oracle's not that useful. Phoenix is not that useful. Playing just generic gateway units is actually really smart. Oh, he's going to shut down the hallucination. No scouting for you. What? Why? Why would you do this? Chat, what is wrong with Hero? What is wrong with him? Why is he making a Stargate at 5 minutes? After going charge and +1. Why? What's it for? What's he doing? Guys, Hero's been sniffing glue again. He's got a build order for us. He's got a build order. Here are senses that going the latest Phoenix of all time. I imagine it's got to be Phoenix just to pick up tanks while he charges on top and then try to shoot down medevacs and stuff. I think that's, yeah. Yeah, it's the latest Phoenix build of all time into a guy who's already built a Viking and a Cyclone. So he just basically is saying, I want Phoenix with my Mass Zealot. And when you push, I want to just swarm your army with Phoenix Zealot. It's just the Phoenix are so late, but they are a surprise. Phoenix Charge is a good build, but it's normally because you open Phoenix, it defends harassment, and then you use them to harass the opponent the whole time and force these anti-air units out. So the reason this is a bad build on paper is because you're going into Phoenix against a guy who's already got the counter, the Viking Cyclone. He's already going to be into Stim Shields +1 Marine. So the Phoenix are the worst thing you could commit to here. They do have one specialty, which is picking up Widow Mines before they can fire. They also can hunt down medevacs if Clem pushes too far with a big bio push. It could pay off, right? Things that are on paper, big gambles, we often will say, this isn't good, or this is wrong, or this is weird. It means the players got some sort of read on how they think the game is going to go, and they've decided to take a gamble around that. We go for a Zealot time into the bunker. Guardian Shield could be massive here. Zealot's charging, but he sees a lot of units and he backs out of it. He decides, yeah, maybe no. Well, now you're either going or you're not. Clearly not. Single Marine's going to come in. Sees no gases on this third. This is important scouting. So he knows, oh, you're playing heavy Zealot. And that tells Clem, get the third, turtle up, wait until your bio count's big. If you venture on the map, be very cautious that you don't get jumped on by Master Zealot. Oh, he's going to see the Stargate. He sees Phoenix popping out. He sees Mass Gateway Forge. He knows exactly what he's up against. Dude, I can't believe he let this Marine scout everything. Oh my god, it saw literally every single thing. In the third, in the natural, and in the main. That guy got a grand tour. What the? You guys know when like people go visit North Korea? And they're like, oh, wow, there's like, we have to go with this like set guide who takes us everywhere. And there's always a parade. And they're always talking about how good the country is and how fantastic. This was the opposite of that. This guy just snuck in without a visa on a boat and got the dark underbelly tour. This guy just saw everything they did not want him to see, man. And now Clem knows, like, venture out, go home. Venture out, go home. Like, he's trying to pretend he's going to be on the map. But there's double upgrades. There's no splash damage for Hero. His army doesn't have good longevity. He's building cannon battery to go with his Zealot Phoenix army. You guys have heard my thoughts on making lots of batteries when you're playing Zealot Phoenix. And how it's not the right move. I don't want to harp on about it too much because I talk about it every Hero cast. Whenever he goes mass charge, he always builds shield batteries everywhere. I hate it. I hate it so much. Alright, the Marines come in. Yeah, they accidentally... Yeah, the Marine... Yeah, he accidentally found his way into the volcano lair. Where he found Hero cackling madly. And talking about how he was going to get $1 million for his evil Zealot Phoenix plot to destroy the Terran world. Here we go, Phoenix coming in. Hey, gets a Viking. Good snatch. Very well done. Double Robo going down now at the third base, aka the natural. Phoenix rotating, dude. I think Hero still has a pretty good army. If he doesn't let the Widow Mines be too good, if he flanks this army... Oh, he doesn't have those rocks down, though. This Zealot should be coming from behind. He needs to loop in from that side. This is not a good enough surround. Oh, what? Suicide! Kamikaze! He does drag a Kamikaze, but he doesn't get it in the center of the Marines. The Zealot surround is amazing, though. 1-1 upgrades are good. The battery actually helps out, which is hilarious. Unfortunately, the Phoenix went in a bit too early. Still a good fight for Hero. Crushes that army with an amazing surround. And oh my god, and Clem just flies in! What? Clem was so confused by what he was up against. Let's see, did any of those Kamikazes hit, though? I don't think they did. The late Phoenix broke his brain, even though he full scouted it. I'm going to get some damage on the Medivacs, and then I think he hits like maybe a few Marauders on the edge with that Phoenix. But the fact that he just came from two sides with the Zealots, so Clem couldn't really stutter step, and the force field blocking him from stutter stepping, huge. Clem was probably dead here no matter what. So flying the Medivacs over there, pretty derpy, but it is what it is. All right, guys, we got Clem in the top right side of the map. Hero in the bottom left. This has been a series so far. Damn. So Hero scouts the cheese. Clem pivots. Hero getting the third up so early, I think, was pivotal. But the late Stargate was such a meme. And it actually does work well for making those Widow Mines fire before the fight starts. I think the bigger thing is coming from two sides. I don't think he had a good enough surround in the army, but because of the force field that was like right on the corner, stopping the bio from retreating, it was good enough. I really feel like people don't play mass Zealot sandwiches enough, especially if you deny a Terran scouting. Mass Zealot sandwich is so good. The problem is we often see mass Zealot just attacking from one side, and a guy like Clem will just stutter step halfway across the map, killing every single Zealot, you know? Now this is a 1-Rax expand on Tourmaline for Terran, and for Protoss it looks like this is a no scout build, hey? Cybercore before Nexus, but also no scout. I guess because he got proxied in the last game and he figures you're not going to do it again. He goes and blocks the Reaper ledge with this pylon, which is very cute. Do you guys think he hides his tech over there as well, or do you think he probably just builds back here? So he's walled off the Reaper ledges on both sides. Checks for proxies outside his base as well. Interesting build order. I really feel like if you're going to play no scout, it's better to go 19 Nexus, 19 core. But Hero's going to do his own little order. I mean, this does get the Stalker a bit faster. It's just your tech's a bit delayed, but that's fine. It is going to be against a Tech Lab. Oh, the early Cyclone. Okay, so earliest possible Cyclone for Clem. One Marine into Tech Lab. I actually think this build struggles with Zealot Adept pressure, doesn't it, guys? I guess the Command Center starts so early. The idea is that your Command Center hopefully finishes before the Adept gets there, but I think the Zealot would arrive about now if he'd gone for it, and or maybe even earlier, and could potentially deny that. Which would mess this opening up. You'd have to build a depot and wait for your Cyclone to get your natural up. Bit of a risk for Clem there, bit of a risk for Hero by not scouting. Just, you know, both sides playing a little risky. So what is Clem countering with the fast Cyclone? Well, the Cyclone just gives you a lot of control. I mean, it shuts down an early Oracle. Any Adept that comes across early or Stalker, you could just shut down. It just gives you the ability to get map control immediately. So he gives up. He's a bit open early, like I said, because the Command Center can't be protected by one Marine. Once the Cyclone's out, it just puts Protoss in a corner. It also makes it easier to catch a hallucination if they go for one. So the Cyclone just gives Terran that map control, that flexible safety, but it's a rather expensive unit. And he's going to go Banshees afterwards, I think. He could just go Raven, of course. But Cyclone denying scouting into Banshee is a Maru favorite. Yeah. So he's going to try and catch any hallucinations. Speaking of which, Sentry is building. So he's gone 3 Stalkers into Sentry as Hero. Hero's also gone for 3 Gateways. I also like, he doesn't have any buildings at the front. I'm kind of spread out further back. Hallucination coming out. Bunker there at the natural. Can he see the cloak upgrade? He's heading in the right line. Cyclone's there. Oh, if he commits north, he sees it. He does see it. Doesn't convince you that it's cloak until you see the Banshee, though. Oh, but he cancels it. Clem immediately cancels. He cancels it, and he says, "No, F that. I'm not going Banshees if it's been scouted." So he swaps over. He's just going to say no air unit. He's a little weak to Dark Templar this game because he didn't go Raven either. But Hero will be like, it might be Raven, it might be Banshee. He's going to build a battery in each base because that kind of blocks both of them. Obviously, double Banshee can still one-shot probes, but single can't. Auto turret can't do much damage either. So I think the double battery makes a lot of sense here. This is, I always make fun of Hero's batteries. This is a very logical battery response to what he scouted. Bro, what show is playing in the background? It's the StarCraft soundtrack. You don't know the StarCraft soundtrack? I think this is the one from the Heart of the Swarm cinematic, right? This is when, like, Kerrigan's Ultralisks are stomping on siege tanks and stuff. There's that really cool Viking pilot who decided to land in front of the Ultralisk and shoot it once before he just got stepped on. What is the best cinematic from StarCraft 2, by the way, guys? I feel like the fact that there was just a straight-up battle in Legacy of the Void was pretty badass. But Heart of the Swarm was pretty epic. Uh-oh. Right, that goes down. He's the early Marauders. Let's look at the defensive setup. So we've got an Observer on the Natty and an Observer on the third. Hero is so safe against Banshees. And Clem's just pivoted into full bio, guys. So yeah, he's actually over-responded to these Banshees. Overreacted, I should say. I still think my favorite for like many years of any cinematic, people will be like, Warcraft 3 cinematic when there's the flowers and Arthas walks up to his dad and then gives him a hug, but the hug involves stabbing him. And I'm like, guys, original Dawn of War trailer is so much better than that. Give me Orcs and Space Marines brawling over a pointless hilltop any day. Nice scan, does get rid of the Observer. Good Stalker micro so far from Hero. Ooh. One Stalker goes down. Good blink, good blink. Good blink. We've got one Immortal, 8 Zealots, 7 Stalkers. Charge is ready. Can Hero defend? This is a giant army. He's invested in multiple Observers. A lot of things dealing with the Banshees that were imaginary. They never came. And now the SCV pool is here. Clem with a brutal SCV pool. A brilliant ploy. Going for the Banshees and then canceling it when it was scouted. The Guardian Shield, though, really does help out. I love the hold position on the SCVs. Still a big ball of bio available. If that Immortal pops out, that's big. The probes have been pulled into the fight. Another Immortal pulls in. Hero says, hey, you pull the boys, I can pull the boys as well. The second Immortal comes in. One of the Immortals does go down. Really hard to sync up the Stalkers, Zealots, and Immortals all together, though. You can just see how hard it is to make all these units fight at the same time. Those Widow Mines, though, not really landing big shots, but the Widow Mines are going to recharge here, and they are doing a little bit of a job tanking. Obviously, only 90 hit points per Widow Mine, but that's better than nothing. The bio is going to go down south, takes out the Observer, gets rid of the pylon there, depowering the shield battery. No, it doesn't actually. The Immortal does get focused. The Stalker's getting overrun. And damn, man, a ball of bio. It's just so good against these weak Immortals and Stalkers and Zealots in low numbers. And that's it, man. This sort of timing, pre-Protoss splash damage, is so hard to stop. I think often you have to counterattack to deal with it. And that's what's really hard if you don't know what's coming ahead of time. Because if I go back and you look at it, you go, what is Protoss even meant to do? There's that voice in the back of my head, and I go, these guys cannot be arriving at the fight. I really feel you, like, in this situation, you actually need to have, whether it's a pack of Stalkers or Zealots behind the army, cutting off the reinforce, because it's just those units coming in is a bit too powerful, and I think he was just a bit too light on the unit count when it started, because he's built 3 shield batteries, 1 in each mineral line, that didn't end up being useful. There was no Raven, no Banshee, and then, of course, built 2 Observers. He just was distracted here and didn't realize how stiff this 2-base push would be. GG. Alright, guys, we got Clem over here in the top right side. Barracks gas. Top left for Hero. It is gateway gas as well. My man. For the hill. Get the boys on top of that hill. We gotta plant that flag. The war boss said we have to. Yeah, Warhammer 40k orcs are great. I was watching someone, an American Warhammer guy, and he's like, for some reason, orcs in the 40k universe all have British accents. And I was like, I never even thought of them as British accents. Like, obviously, yes, but I was just like, I mean, it's not just the regular British accent. It's a certain kind. I'm pretty sure the guys that made Warhammer were like, they'd seen enough football hooligans and they were like, these guys are the orcs, man. They just want to smash stuff. Whenever their team loses, people's cars parked anywhere near the stadium and bus stops get smashed in. Like, these guys are literal orcs, man. And then they based an entire faction around them. The sort of geniuses that think painting their car with red stripes makes it go faster. Early Cyclone, guys. Oh, it's the same build 2 games in a row, Clem. Hello. Interesting. Wants to limit Hero's vision a little bit. Hero is once again not scouting 2 games in a row, which means Hero will definitely scout game 5. I don't think he's likely to not scout 3 games in a row. Assuming we get there. I might be putting the cart before the horse. Double gases mining SCV production. Big break in the SCVs there. Bit of a mistake for Clem. Does fix it now. He's waiting for that 100 gas for the starport. You can see 100 gas. And actually he changes his mind. Okay, he goes second barracks. All right. This could be just a classic 3 racks Marine tank push. Marine Marauder siege tank. No healing. No healing required. It's not a bad push. I do think Stargate's quite decent against this because it scouts it. Unless you go Phoenix and just hide the Phoenix on it. But if you go an Oracle, fly across, see what's happening, don't lose it to the Cyclone, most importantly, keep it alive, then you should be well prepared. But Phoenix, that's not what you want. He's expecting Clem to go for some sort of medevac drop aggression. He's hoping to trap it, let it fly in, let the Phoenix kill it. It's not going to happen. SCV does go down, first blood to Hero. I think Hero just rolls a dice to see if he scouts or not. Yeah, maybe. I think generally that's not a terrible way to do it, but like, yeah. You can sometimes predict certain players. Certain players think they're randomizing things and they're really not. Certain players have like systems they don't even realize. If they don't do like an analysis, it's like, oh, after winning a map, they always do this or something like that, you know? And they'll like, it'll be like 90% accurate. But they think that's random. And they just don't realize, right? Because we a little bit biased. 3 racks producing right now. He is going to go engineering base, so this is not the all-in. He's going to build a starport and a reactor up there any moment now as well. Starport, reactor. Any day now. Alright, the Phoenix are going to fly out, do a little bit of harassment. Units lost tab does show 1 probe, 1 SCV. No biggie. I guess he doesn't have enough money. He has to keep building Marines and SCVs first with 3 barracks. Does delay the starport a little bit. Does go down now. Reactor hasn't started just yet. I think that's a slight error. Don't think he had the money for it. And now he doesn't realize the reactor hasn't started. There we go. Now it begins. Only a few seconds delayed. Not a big deal. Phoenix is there. Okay, flies in the back, sees the starport, knows this is not an all-in. Good harassment here. Picks up the mule, doesn't pick it off though. Has to drop it and fly away to save these Phoenix. Behind this, charge is started. 3rd base already halfway done. Forge on the way. It's not the quickest charge build by any means, and it is only 3 gateways. But early +1 will, of course, make those zealots hit a bit harder. I'd love +1 armor with the build personally, but to each his own. Only 4 Phoenix. He stopped Phoenix production. So it looks like he's going to pivot into more of a ground build. But it's only 2 gas right now, which makes me think Hero might be toying with the idea of a second forge. I'm going to Hero's camera right now, guys. I want to get inside his head a little bit. Clem is going very standard, very textbook. This is not a crazy game. Sentry, Zealot, +1 attacks on the way. Hero is still only 2 gas, man. Staying 2 gas for a very long time. Now, Hero should check the main aggressively for command centers now, because Clem often builds the command center. Yeah, look, he goes for it right around this point. But if he doesn't, it means he's committing harder into a 2-base push. If he doesn't have a 3rd command center started by 6:30, that's very late for Clem. Guys like Q are more comfortable delaying it a bit. Same with Beyond. But Clem, when he goes for a standard macro build, he likes to cut a little bit of production to get that started on time. Phoenix, do not see it. Finds himself a Marine. Sees some medevacs popping, but he doesn't see the command center. And damn, stays a bit too deep. But the Phoenix somehow survives. No, get out! Loses a Phoenix. That last pickup, not worth it. Forward gateway gets built here, so that's going to take him to 7 gates. Templar Archives does go down, but it's a 2 gas Templar Archives? Guys, why is he going Templar Archives? Does Hero forget that Storm takes gas? Or is he just going to take 4 gases all at once now? I mean, the good thing is Clem scans sees no gases. In his mind, there's no way you've even started a Templar Archives yet. But Hero's doing opposite logic. And that's what makes Hero so hard to read. He does opposite logic all the time. Like, he's literally going to have Storm finished, and he's going to have enough gas for, like, only 2 high Templar. But he's like, whatever, I'm only building Zealots, it's fine. He takes a 3rd gas. Finally takes a 4th gas as well, down on his 4th base to kind of hide it a little bit. This is kind of clever, man. Chat says, I think he should go armor. With this army, he definitely should have had armor instead of attack, but Korean players love their attack upgrades. With this style, he should absolutely be going +1 armor here, because his Colossus transition is miles away. And don't get me wrong, attack still helps. I'm going to go for a mass Zealot single high Templar timing attack. Hero's builds are more disjointed than Michael Phelps. Pig, actually, it's double jointed, not disjointed. Let me have my moment. 2 more gateways are building. Marine sees the 4th base. Here we go, YOLO time. Kamikaze! Dude, Clem wasn't watching. Massive Widow Mine friendly fire. Hero with the Kamikaze attack. But a huge Widow Mine lands on those Zealots on the north. Good spready. Storms come in the mineral line. But I think that was a good hold for Clem. Really good hold. Oh my gosh. That's such a crazy... And he's... Get out of here, Hero. Hero, you gotta run. He's got a Storm to cover his retreat here. He's got to pull back. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why is he still attacking? Hero's attacking as if he has the better army. He has the much worse army right now. Much worse. But he's trying to stay in Clem's face. Let's see if he can just pull that off. Oh, the Storm does go down. Good Storm. Tickles the bio. Damages the Medivacs a fair bit. He does have a lot more Zealots warping in. He's on 4 bases. Hero might just have enough of an economic advantage that this is okay. Yes, he traded 1,400 resources worth, but he's 78 workers against 66. Double eBay armor he's just started. Unfortunately, second forge is so late, so his Zealot's going to die so fast. But they do good damage when they can actually land hits. The mass Zealot army, it's much more about their tankiness rather than anything else. Oh, that Widow Mine! The Widow Mine just hit like 10 Zealots. Hero chases into a choke point, stands and fights with no armor upgrade and every Zealot stuck behind each other. Flabbergasted. I am flabbergasted watching the decision to stand and fight there. I can't believe you would stand and fight there. Like, it's the wrong upgrade as well. Okay, now he's finally getting +1 armor. +3 attack on the way as well. This is the sort of game where if the Protoss has this economic lead and has 2/2 upgrades, Terran's just dead right now. I really think a second Forge would have made this a much smoother game, but the Storm's nice. Like, he's got... It's not just a Zealot all in. It's Zealots and Storms. And he's going to attack this base now. Should get some Zealots in the mineral line. Even just 2 Zealots in that mineral line would have been really nice there. Oh! Good Storm, man. Does damage a lot of the units. Doesn't quite kill them, though, does it? Storm's one of these things where you slowly shave your opponent down with it these days. Second starport on the way for Clem. He's worried about a Colossus transition. Joke's on him. Colossus transition does not exist, guys. There is no Robo Bay. He can go... I think he's trying to build Colossus, but he's built Prism. He's built an Observer. Finally, the Robo Bay does go down. Immortals wouldn't be bad. Hero's economy is a bit too high. 87 workers is kind of nice, but... The thing is, we've seen that Hero's late game is abysmal in this matchup. It's one of the worst of the top Protoss players. He's got to finish it in the mid/early late game. Don't know if he's going to be able to. Takes another horrific Widow Mine to the chin. Lands a great Psy Storm though. But he shouldn't be fighting. He's already lost all of his shields here. Continuing to fight, but actually he did enough damage, maybe? Not many anti-air units. Can he shoot down the commands? And he's got a few Stalkers warping in. High Templar coming in. Massive Storm! Clem's eating some big storms, dude. Hero's +1 armor's kicked in. He knows he's got the upgrade advantage. He wants to trade right now before 2-2. I think Hero, his supply looks terrible, but his economy looks amazing. He's keeping Clem back on 3 bases. He's up on 5. Units lost time is 3,000 in favor of Clem. Dude, these fights are so crazy. 86 Zealots have gone down for 38 Marines, 17 Marauders, 2 Ghosts, and 9 Widow Mines. He's also lost 3 High Templar. There's 4 Phoenix that sacrificed themselves. Double Colossus transition is underway. it's a terrible time to transition into Colossus because the Viking count's already good. Then again, ooh. So this is the big thing I noticed with Heroes late game is he's good when he's got them on the ropes and he's kind of like keeping them stimmed. But he just never multi-prongs recently, and that's one thing I really dislike. Like, I would love to see a few Zealots run in here, maybe try to get a Zealot up there, try to get a Prism down the back into the main, maybe. Hard to do. He's got really good turret rings now, but very, very kind of front-on clash style here is Hero. I want to fight you. I do love the Prism, though. He's been using the Prism so well. Does die now, though. Gets itself an SCV, maybe. Damages some Vikings. These Stalkers would love to pick off some Vikings, man. They're so damaged. Colossus have now arrived. Does Clem have the answer? He's got a lot of Marines in his army. Very weak to Colossus. Good AMP, though, on the High Templar. The Marines trying to pull back behind these Marauders. Vikings take down one Colossus. The second Colossus taking damage. Zealots come in from the south as well, but they kind of get derped in and die. 2-2 for Terran, only 3-1 for Protoss. And remember, when those Zealots are just tanking, it's the armor upgrades are all that matters. I think Clem may have hung on. He's got a 4th planetary. He's got a sensor tower down here. He's started his +3 weapon, so he's closing the gap on the upgrades. And whilst Hero continues to expand, his gateway count is a bit low. I'd love to see Hero go up to 16, 17 gateways. And I'd love to just see him find a way to finish this game soon. If he's not going to be able to, he's going to need to keep adding High Templar. Maybe even 1 or 2 Disruptors into the army. He's got 5 Colossus right now. There's only 5 Vikings. He's got to attack right now. He actually has an army that Clem can't deal with. Hero needs to go. He cannot waste time. There's only 5 Vikings. I think he can win this game. He's got +3 attack. He's kind of waiting for +2 armor, but no, he goes in before armor. The Zealots charge way in front. Hero needs to be a little bit cleaner on this army control. 4th and 5th Colossus are rallying into the fight. If the Stalkers can get rid of the Vikings, that will be big. The Colossus are kind of coming in after the Zealot army is already toasted, though. It really feels like Clem has done a good job of disjointing this army. Hero with a very sloppy attack. Another Colossus goes down, and I think Hero's advantage is not... It should be game-winning, shouldn't it? Having Storm and 5 Colossus against a guy with 5 Vikings. He's got 3-2 upgrades now as well, so he's slightly ahead in upgrades. I really think Hero should have been able to finish him there, but he let all of his Zealots charge over here, while his Colossus were back here. It feels like Hero's army control needs to step up a little bit. Clem can be intimidating. The problem now is that Hero's outnumbered. He doesn't have a warp-in point nearby, and he can just get jumped on, I believe, by Clem's flank around the left. If Clem loops around the left and sandwiches these Colossus, it's going to be bad news for the Protoss. But whenever he's kiting like this, the Colossus can do really well. If the Stalkers can get rid of those Vikings... Oh, the Vikings doing really well, though. The Zealots go into an Arca Bio. He does get gunned down. High Templar needs to move over here on the ledge and try to land a Side Storm, but Clem spots it, takes down the High Templar on that ledge. Other High Templar waddles in, had Storm Energy, didn't cast it despite Clem not EMPing it. Hero with some abysmal army control here, and Clem's going to take advantage. Clem does not need much of an invitation to take advantage if you're not going to micro this correctly, and I think he's seeing little bits of weakness in Hero's play, and he's exploiting. Don't get me wrong, guys, the late game Terran army is obscene. The Ghost Viking army, with how cheap Vikings are, how good Ghosts are now that they're 2 supply and have 125 hit points, I do think it's an obscene army. I just don't think Clem was quite at the late game where his army becomes unkillable. But now, 3-3's kicking in. Before the +3 armor even of Protoss, shield upgrades don't really matter that much. You know, the 5th base is getting up, Libs are coming in, Fusion Core, +2 ship weapon. It's getting to the point where Hero's advantages have all slipped away. They've all been lost, like sand falling between your fingers. And it is now an almost 10,000. It's 9,000 resource lost advantage for Clem. I really think with those 5 Colossus against 5 Vikings, like, you had a window, you just needed to fight front on. He didn't need to get fancy and break the rocks or anything. Break the rocks was a nice addition, but felt like Clem got a bit too bit too much of a clean trade too easily. These Zealots could just fight that, maybe. Oh, I'm gonna lose quite a few Zealots. So this sort of Zealot run by is really good if the Terran's attacking or distracted, but on its own, it's not as powerful. Stalkers pick off a unit. Alright, so he's going for this Colossus Storm army. This is similar to... Someone was asking me, hey, does Hero still hate Storm? And I was saying earlier today, I saw a game against Maru where we went Colossus Storm, and he looked useless in the late game with it, and I really didn't like it. I feel like if you're going to go Storm Colossus, don't get me wrong, it's okay, but, like, there's a narrow window. Late mid-game, we've got to make it go. I think push left, push left. If he pushes left, he can zone with Storms. He's got to keep his High Templar spread out. He can push to the left right now. Stalkers can kill that Liberator. He's got to kill that Liberator and use his High Templar. The Liberator is somehow still there. Good Storm. Whoa, the Colossus Splash! The Colossus Splash minced a lot of the bio. Oh, where are the Storms? Another good Storm does land. He's only got 10 gateways, remember. His reinforce is not that quick, and he just lost like 4 Colossus. Units lost tab is now 11,000 in favor of Clem. Another 2,000 resource swing. This is super, super brutal, man. Hero feels like he's lost a bit of confidence in late game. This happens to all pro players. Remember we saw Clem in the last season where energy recharge was really good, and there was just a point where Clem just got super tilted and started like getting destroyed by Classic, including at the World Cup. I don't think Clem played very good StarCraft against Classic at that World Cup. I think he played like crap. But I also think there was like just a psychological damage of feeling like everything was working against him, and I think that might be what's happening for Hero in the late game of this matchup. Where he might just be in that situation where he's like, oh, these guys always beat me in late game, and he's kind of like, once your confidence leaves you in StarCraft, it's really hard to do anything well, because you're really unsure about whether or not the moves you're trying to do are the correct moves. Nice snipes there. Right side, a few Stalkers over here as well. Lib range and +3 ship weapons coming in as well. Alright, Zealot Archon Colossus coming in. Stalker's trying to do some damage. Zealot Archon's got to stay with the army. Great High Templar! Does land a good Storm on those Ghosts. The Ghosts are so tanky, man. They don't really care about Size Storm that much. It's only the Colossus beams that can remove the Ghosts from the board. It's all about those nice snipe chases for Clem. Zealots charging all over everything. Colossus Stalker marching over the top. The Zealots need to get out of here. He tries to click the command center. The Zealots need to run. He needs to pull the Zealots behind his army. Hero bleeds far too many of these Zealots out while the rest of his army is not fighting, and that's one thing I think he could really improve on his control, is just pulling those Zealots back a bit earlier. This feels like a ZVP. I feel like ZVP feels very fair and balanced in the late game. This one, it feels like Hero is floundering. He's got a narrow window. He has money. He has a maxed army, but this Terran army, unless Clem makes a big mistake, should bully him out of this game. The question is 4 Colossus too many against 6 Vikings? It's Clem. He's close to his production. If he loses this fight, he's in big trouble. Clem seems to be panicking a little bit. The Colossus dealing with the SCVs from behind, though, wasting their time attacking that rather than landing shots in the middle. And the Colossus taking big damage. Good micro here for Clem. Hero pushes deep, tries to get in amongst the rallies, but it looks like Clem is going to win this one 3-1. And that late game just shifting way too hard. I think Hero's always been a bit of a subpar late game player. Clem's become an excellent late game player, but on this patch it's been very, very decisive, the late game results, with Maru also monster moding Hero, Clem monster moding Hero in the late game. Hero's been struggling a lot with it, and I think he really has to get things done in the mid game, or once he gets to that middle late game, late game, God forbid end game, when there's like the Iron Bank and all that sort of stuff, it becomes a near impossibility to beat a top-level Terran for Hero. I do think Tempest Storm Siege can work on some maps. I think this is probably one of the worst maps to try it, just because you don't really have any good ridges to take to set up your cannon battery. But against some turtle styles, you can do that, where you build cannon battery out here somewhere, maybe here, and then start sieging with Tempests. But that is not Hero's style. That is the style for a player who is incredibly patient, very slow, very methodical. Hero is, of course, not that. Hero is fiery. He's always got a spark, a kick in his step. The supply looks okay, but look at the actual unit count and you realize these High Templar, unless they land Omega Storms, aren't going to be it. And remember, in the very end game, the Storm is definitely nerfed. The Viking is buffed, the Ghost is buffed. It's been a massive shift to the late game advantage for Terran in this matchup. And that has been a bit of an issue when you've got a Hero. It's like a bloody beast, man, in the mid game, but then he just falls off a cliff, doesn't he? Must be the first time since Heart of the Swarm that Colossus are a part of late game. Yeah, it's because the Ghosts can't really get killed otherwise, so people feel like you need the Ghosts, otherwise the Colossus, because the Ghosts are just too tanky. Problem is, of course, the Marauders tank very well against those Ghosts. Stalkers try to come forward. Hero does cop an EMP after using his Zoning Storms. High Templar getting sniped as well. Feels like this is too easy now for Clem. Just a matter of slowly, methodically breaking his way out. And don't get me wrong, he's worked really hard for this. He weathered wave after wave of Hero's advances, but it does feel like Hero just doesn't really have any clean plays. Clears the Viking lib finally, or the libs, I should say. But the Bio Army almost untouched, and is now a 22,000 resource loss difference. And I'm not sure, we mostly watch Hero. Max also doesn't have the best endgame, but I think even if you put the best endgame players in here, I don't think that changes the endgame favoring. To be fair, Clem and a lot of the players play both sides of the matchup, but Clem especially plays top-level Protoss. He'll tell you that Protoss is favored in the mid-game, as will a lot of the Protoss players. But I think that's the problem in TVP right now, is that like it is a little Protoss favored in the mid-game where they can run away with map control. Then it's also way too favored for Terran in the late game as well, where like it's both of those are a bit too extreme, and I'm not sure how that gets adjusted exactly, but I mean, I definitely know how you can lessen some. I don't know how you fix everything. I definitely know how you help with everything. So obviously revert or change some of those changes from the last patch. High Templar coming forward, Stalkers from the south, Zealots down there as well. It's just, I mean, it's so hard to do what Clem does with this army as well. So just because he's overpowered here doesn't mean average Joe Terrans are. I cannot do what he's doing here. And I've been getting walloped by Disruptors and Storm on the ladder when it gets to late game when I'm playing Terrans. I still get smashed by that, but of course, Clem made of sterner stuff. He dodges the Storms, EMPs, dodges the balls. Doing very nicely. Stalkers do blink, pick off a lib. Trying to dance north as well. At this stage, it looks like nothing. Stalker damage is just so bad. Stalker damage is not very good. But if you have a unit that's both very mobile, shoots up, shoots down, and also has a teleport that it can use every 7 seconds, can't give that... If you give that unit high DPS, oh my lord. Can you imagine? Blink Stalkers in the hand of pro gamers are already such a menace in the mid-game in every matchup. You give them any higher damage per second, that is an issue. That, of course, is the double-edged sword of getting special abilities on your basic gateway units. GG, well played. Really nice game there for Clem. I think this is one of many games I've seen over the last few weeks, and I think I'm going to be very bored of it in a month or two, where it's just too extreme. Don't get me wrong, I love the game up to like 10, 12, sometimes 14 minutes, but after a certain point, these 125 hit point ghosts, the 25 mineral discount Vikings, I just feel like, I don't know if Terran was weak in the late game, but I feel like both of these, combined with the Storm doing less damage per second, so even when you do catch him with Storm, you can just kind of pull out of it, heal, reset, repair. It's very rough. And of course, Disruptors being so nerfed that they are a useless force supply unit. They shoot a little bit faster now, but I do dislike that the Disruptor's been so cucked so many times. I'd love to see that Disruptor come back with 2 rings of damage, where the middle one still does the instant kill. The outer one is like the modern Disruptor that just damages units, or maybe does even a bit less, like 60 or 80 damage. But could be interesting to see how it goes. Yeah, I think right now you've got a bunch of factors working together here. Hero looked good in the mid game. I still think he could absolutely beat Clem up to certain points. But once it gets past a certain stage, Hero looks very, very lost about what he can do to take his opponents down. I think if he went Disruptors, honestly, he'd have a better chance than with his Colossus Storm style. If he goes Colossus Storm, I think it's that first moment when he hits 5 Colossus. And he's over on the other side of the map. I can't remember when that was, 13, 15 minutes, whatever it was, before he broke these rocks. I think this was probably one of his better chances to win the game. And I do think he messed up his control a lot. I think Hero was pretty sloppy. He's had some moments, but I do think there's maybe a confidence issue due to the other balance reasons that he's also experiencing. Who knows? Anyway, I don't want to balance wine too much. I already know the comments on this one's are going to be an absolute poop shoot. But thank you very much for hanging out. You guys are amazing. And thank you, Clem, for winning yet another weekly cup. Dude, stop making me send you money. Max, Fax, Hero, and Clem, always hogging the money. Leave some for Solar and the other guys. Come on, guys. No, GG, well played. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye-bye.